Day 3 of working to heal my foot injury. Days 1 and 2, I was having a really hard time putting any weight on it. Right now, I'm actually able to stand on 2 feet for a very short amount of time on 1 foot without feeling any pain. So things seem to be progressing nicely. Now, some of the principles that I'm going to use, number 1 is demand versus ability. So the past 2 days, I couldn't do anything without pain. So I couldn't work on improving the ability of my foot. Therefore, I reduced the demand that I was placing on it. Not standing, literally resting and keeping it up like this. That's why I had to get crutches. They're very useful. Now today, my goal is to be able to walk backwards without pain. Now before that, I gotta get tons of blood flow in there because right now there's a ton of inflammation. I'm not really able to connect mind to muscle with these areas because the body's protecting me from getting hurt. So following along with the principles that I use to train my clients, I'm gonna start by getting tons of blood flow in there and working on pain-free ability. First, I would start off with tibialis raises just to get tons of blood flow into the ankle, the area above the foot. And as you see here, I can't quite dorsiflex while standing. Like this foot can do it, this one can't. Shout out to my friend Connor for gifting me these floss bands and our friends at ATG for making these. This is Ben and his family. They make the majority of their equipment here in America in an effort to bring manufacturing jobs back to America, which I love. Flossing can be really helpful when the act of moving a joint brings you a little bit of pain, right? Because this actually helps to put pressure below and above the joint so that the joint is able to glide better together because of the pressure. And it helps to trap blood flow in that area because it acts as compression so that once you take it off, there's a ton of blood flow that rushes to the area. You can basically apply this at any joint that doesn't have a ton of meat by it. So it's really hard to apply this to the shoulders and hips or neck, but it's very useful for the ankle, for the knee, for the elbow, for the wrist. And I've used this to great success with clients. The best part is these are only about, $20 or $30 each. These are good, really good quality made ones. If you don't want to prioritize an American made one, they do sell them cheaper. There are floss bands that are about like $10 or so. But super useful. I've used this a ton of times to help clients get into positions that they otherwise couldn't with their knees, with their elbows, and now for myself with the ankle. So I'm gonna wrap this around. We start here towards the middle of the foot, and you wanna keep this not super tight, but tight enough to where you feel the compression. And you almost want to go almost over it, slightly going towards the joint or going up. I'm gonna wrap just one of these around, but I'm having a little bit of inflammation in the ankle. So I'm gonna try to take care of that first, because when you work areas right above the area that's hurt, it still gets blood flow in there, and strength itself is gained about 15 degrees of where you're training it. So if we're training strength in the ankle, that also means that we're going to be using some of the muscles in the foot, and that is going to be key for recovery, because blood flow and movement are the biggest healers that we've been given innately in our bodies, as well as just the intention of wanting to be well, right? There's a ton that can be done with just the focus. So I'm going to start here. I can already feel that I have a little bit more movement, more pain-free movement in that ankle. So I'm able to go up and down, whereas before, as you saw, I didn't have nearly as much range of motion. So I'm going to do about 100 this way. We also got this other band that I'm going to use for adding resistance once I feel like I can start pushing it a little bit more. And as far as the floss bands, you really don't want to have these on for more than 5 to 10 minutes, because it is kind of trapping that blood in there, stopping other blood flow from going in there. So ideally 5 to 10 minutes at most, so that you don't cause any harm to those tissues, right? We want to increase tolerance, and the best way to do that is to work at a level that doesn't cause harm, doesn't bring you pain. So going up and down here, and then I'm gonna start going side to side, see how much range of motion I have there. I don't have a lot of lateral ability here. I'm just glad I can get some plantar and dorsiflexion. And there might be, well, let's see, we got some circles here, some small circles. Actually feels really good. So I'm gonna go clockwise for about 100, and then counterclockwise the other way. So the method that I use for healing, you can put it into an acronym. It would be movement, energy, ability, time, right? So getting some pain-free movement at a level that doesn't bring you pain. And if you can't, reduce the demand, right? Don't do anything. Rest it up. Energy, in the sense that you still want to be feeding your body the things it needs to create new tissues to heal the area, right? So reducing inflammation with things like ginger, turmeric, um, optimizing your energy in the sense that you want to get sunlight, you want to do grounding, you want to, you're an electromagnetic being, so you want to continue to expose yourself to nature and to the right energies, reducing the amount of blue light that you're getting, right? Getting lots of sleep, optimizing your mitochondria in general, right? So continuing to touch on these areas of improving your mitochondria, of circadian biology, because this is what keeps your body healthy, and it's also what allows you to heal quicker, right? So drinking clean water, getting lots of whole nature-made foods, using herbs in nature like tart cherry juice, ginger, turmeric, things like that to help reduce, to help keep the inflammation under control, because the inflammation is actually good. It's your body's response to the injury. It helps to get lots of blood in here. So, and then the next one is ability, right? So actually improving what you can do in that movement without pain, and time, right? So you have to give it time. You have to put in the reps. You have to improve the tissue's tolerance. So that is the M.E.A.T acronym that I use. There's another acronym out there that includes analgesics, and that's like taking pain pills and things like that. You could still apply analgesic in the sense that you're doing things that help reduce inflammation, that help reduce pain, such as breath work, and meditation. To this little ginger tea juice, I keep pointing to it because it's got so many beneficial things in here. But yeah, sleeping, there's many ways to naturally to do. There are many natural analgesics. It doesn't have to be pain pills and things that are going to be detrimental to your health, that are outside of you and outside of nature. So this is actually feeling much better. I don't know if you can see, but I've got a bit more range of motion now. And the circles and the side to side ankle eversion, aversion, still not ready. The next step would be for me to give it a little bit of resistance. So giving some calf raises here. This is, as opposed to having my full body weight on it, I'm giving it a little bit of resistance here with the band, the other band. And I'm giving it a little bit of stretch too in the dorsiflexion portion of the movement. That feels really good as well. So for the ankle eversion and aversion, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to that today. It feels like it's oh, there's some yeah, some eversion here. That ankle is moving quite nicely, so we'll do about 100 reps that way. So now that we've done some floss work on the ankle, I'm actually going to work on moving my toes a little bit. So crunching and extending as much as I can. Getting a little bit more range of motion than before, but you can still notice that these muscles are reluctant to move. Your body's trying to protect because of the pain, because it's afraid that it's going to cause pain. I'm actually not having any pain just in this range of motion, but neurologically it's limiting me from crunching any harder. Whereas you see here on this foot, I can crunch as hard as I want, extend as much as I want. This one, body's holding me back a little bit, but let's see what 100 reps can get us. Oh yeah, well, that feels much better. So let's see Standing feels about the same, a little bit better than before. Now I'm gonna try backwards walking. So, like honestly, before the flossing, I was having a really hard time just doing this. It's much easier now. So it gives me a little bit of pain if I'm not careful, but it's progress. So if you're having pain, even walking backwards can actually be a great alternative because you're putting less stress on the joint. When you're walking forwards, you're kind of flattening out that foot, but walking backwards is all concentric movement. So I'm having contraction of the muscles without taking a big forward effect and using my entire body weight. So this backwards treadmill here, this is called a sled tread from T-Bar Guy. This thing can be very useful for anybody going through knee pain, ankle pain, foot pain in my case, because it has it has a gradient of ability. You can actually increase the resistance on this to make it more difficult to move, or you can put in the lowest resistance like I have right now. And this, really, I'm not getting any pain. At most, if I really try to step hard on this foot, I'm getting like a 0.5, but it's much better than what I was able to do at the start of this workout. I'm probably gonna do this for about 5 minutes just to get some blood flow, some movement in there, pain-free movement, because right now going forward, I'm having a little bit of pain, but this feels actually kind of nice. That's pretty much it as far as working on healing my foot injury. Day 3, follow along if you want to see how the rest of this unfolds. Again, day 1 and 2, could barely move it. Now I'm to the point where I can start walking backwards, giving it some blood flow, giving it some movement. So I'm pretty confident that by Friday, I'll be able to walk forwards again without too much pain. As far as jumping, things like that, probably give it 3 to 4 weeks. And ideally, my goal is to be able to get back into doing jiu-jitsu. Not sure how long that will take, just because I don't want to put a time frame on it. But I'm confident it can be under 6 months. There were no broken bones, no fractures. And this isn't necessarily what I would recommend for everybody. This approach would use a lot of the similar principles, but every situation is different. So I would have to do like a full-on assessment of their current level of ability. But if you're interested in coaching, if you're interested in learning more about circadian health and holistic health in general, follow my page, Physical Freedom Guy. Look at these little cuties. Little cuties.